Good morning. Welcome back. We just got off the phone with Mr. Rob Lapham, calling him from Mexico Beach area. He's talking about the Forgotten Coast, what they're going to be having for the next week or so. And if you get a chance, go that way and check it out. But I got Brian Armstead, and he's calling. Well, sometimes he calls from, we just don't know, I don't know where he's calling from. Good morning, Brian. Where are you calling from, sir?
I'm actually back at home today.
Oh,
James,
good.
how are you today?
Doing very well, sir. And you've been traveling all over. I tell people, I said, is Brian going to call this week? I said, I think he's on the road again. This guy travels more than any man I've ever met. You go all over
Well, I
the world.
apologize for last week. My phone died.
Oh.
I was fully planning to call in from Mississippi last week, but my phone died overnight, and therefore I didn't get an alarm in the morning. So, but last week I was in Mississippi at the Toyota Corolla plant, which is an amazing. We did a tour. We interviewed the head of the plant, who turns out to be one of my homeboys, for lack of a better word, from Baltimore. Yeah, African American guy, president of the plant there. Just a tremendous story. Sean Suggs is his name, and I had a chance to sit down and talk with him. Tremendous guy. He's really done well. Former military. Served our country for 8 years in the military, and then applied at Toyota and just moved up the ladder quickly based on his leadership skills. And they launched a new project to develop more training opportunities in Mississippi, and the governor was there for the announcement. But when Sean was introduced to his team in front of all these journalists and assembled dignitaries for this groundbreaking event, oh man, they hooped and hollered like he was, Michael Jackson. It was crazy. It was just, it was really great to see. But he is the head of the plant that builds the #1 car in the world, the Toyota Corolla.
Yes.
And down there in Mississippi, they built over 1 million of these things.
I did not even know they were made in Mississippi. This is news to me.
Made in Mississippi,
Wow.
proudly made, and expert quality. Just amazing story. So in order to build on, the Corolla brand, and Corollas have come in many different iterations over the years, James. They've been around forever. They've always been great cars.
40 years?
They've been boring.
40 years for at least, maybe.
Boring as all get up, though, prior to some of the latest iterations. And last month I had a chance to travel to Del Mar, California to test drive the newest member of the Corolla family, the Toyota Corolla Hatchback, 2019 Toyota Corolla Hatchback. Now, Toyota's had a hatchback in the lineup since the demise of Scion, because the Scion IM became the Corolla IM, which is essentially a hatchback Corolla.
Okay.
But they've totally redone it for 2019. First of all, let's start up front, where the exterior styling is a lot more aggressive now. Whereas the old Toyota Corolla IM, the 2018 model, had this kind of hawk look to it, like a evil-looking bird. Not that the hawk is an evil bird; it's just it's a bird of prey.
Yeah,
and it looks aggressive. So it has these kind of swept-back eyes. And that theme carries over to the 2019 model, but they also add this wide-mouth grille, which has become a staple now for Toyota cars, as it is a staple for Lexus cars. You see it on the new Avalon.
I'm looking at the picture right now of it. It's kind of neat,
It's a neat look, James. And look at the lower portion of the grill, and it almost looks like spider pincers or fangs from a snake. I mean, it's got a real aggressive look to it. I love it.
Okay.
Now they have a color out now that is even that blue metallic paint there.
Robin egg blue almost, but it's metallic, isn't it, or something like? It's a different color.
Yeah, it's got a very light metallic color to it, and it just pops out at you.
Yeah, interesting color.
Screams. Yeah, just when the sun hits it down in California, man, it was like a blue flame.
Yeah, I'm looking at a picture right now. It looks nice. It's a nice color car.
Incidentally, that's the name of the color, blue flame. So, bam, how's that for?
Blue flame.
First thing in the morning.
That's pretty interesting. But they made this car. These cars are made in a town of Mississippi, northern Mississippi, southern Mississippi. What part of Mississippi are they made in?
Oh my God, you're going to get me to lie on
I didn't know.
It's close to Tupelo.
Okay, that's up in the northern part. That's in the northern part.
We flew into Memphis,
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Yeah,
and I had a chance to visit the Lorraine Motel, which that's a whole other
Oh yeah.
radio program in itself. That was just wow. That was just amazingly powerful for your radio. I mean, for the TV folks that may not know, Lorraine Motel is where Dr. King was assassinated. So they have what's called the Civil Rights Museum now, a National Civil Rights Museum at the Lorraine Motel. So they've turned the whole motel into a museum. It's really spectacular. It's sad that it has to be there, but it's really a spectacular.
And you showed pictures of
depiction of his life.
You showed pictures of the cars they have there. They're the cars that were there when it happened. I guess they kept them there. The old Cadillacs and the old Chevrolets there. I'm looking at it going, man, that was what, 1968? And you know, it was just like you went back in time to 1968. That the pictures you showed.
Yeah.
It was
so back to Mississippi. Well, actually, this new Corolla is not built in Mississippi. It's going to be built in Japan.
Okay.
But it's just a great driving car. It's got 60% more torsional rigidity than the Corolla IM that it replaced. What does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean? I don't know.
It means that the chassis is stiffer.
Oh.
So when you're ready to turn this Corolla into a sports car, it responds. Now, it doesn't have a big V6 or Turbo 4 or, big motor and a V8 motor, but it's got enough power to get you going in plenty of a hurry. It gets down the road really quickly. It's got a 2-liter, 168 horsepower 4. It can come with either a continuously variable automatic or a 6-speed manual.
Wow.
Now, when there were only a couple of 6-speed manuals available for the test drive, and let me tell you, when they let us loose after the press conference, people went running to jump into those 6-speed manuals.
I bet they did. I bet they did. That's
it responds very nicely. It's a fun car to drive, 0 to 60 in 7.9, and you still get close to 40 miles a gallon on the highway.
0 to 60 in less than 5 seconds from a 4-cylinder car?
No. 7.9.
Oh, 7.9. I was going, okay, I apologize. I was going to say, man, if it's doing it that fast, that's good.
I got my early morning voice. I even got up an hour earlier today to clear the early morning voice. It still hasn't gone away.
Eat more of that Tupelo honey up there. You'll feel better.
Oh, man, that's some good stuff.
It is good stuff. It really is. I've been hawking that stuff for the last... I got some right here. Well, it's not Tupelo. This is just Wildflower, but I can't tell hardly the difference between Tupelo and Wildflower down here, spring Wildflower. But anyway, but Mississippi is where you were at. You did the review on this 2019 Corolla Hatchback. And what stood out in your mind if for the average person who wants to buy a car? I mean, they're looking at buying an economical car. What stood out in your mind about that?
Okay, so here's what, and let me again make it clear that I was in California to drive this car. I was in Mississippi at the Corolla plant.
Okay, got it.
The thing that really stands out in my mind, James, is that I don't know if you heard the news that Ford is going to be killing off most of their sedans.
I have heard the news.
So here we are in the United States. Everybody's killing sedans. Nobody wants to build them anymore because you're not making any money right now. And then what is the news for the summer? That gas is going to be close to
$4 a gallon.
Gas,
yep.
$4 a gallon.
Yep.
So, all these analysts are saying, hey, people are not going to start trading in their SUVs until gas gets to $6 a gallon. Well, all it takes is one crisis around the world, and gas can very easily be at $6 a gallon.
Yep.
And then what do you have when you get to that point, if you're Ford? You have the Expedition. You have the Explorer. You have a bunch of SUVs that nobody's going to buy because they get 15, 20, 25 miles a gallon, at a time when you can go over to Toyota and get a Corolla hatchback, which has some of the utility, a lot of the utility of a sport utility vehicle, because it has a hatchback. You fold down that back seat.
Oh, yeah.
You stick a whole lot of junk in the back of there.
Oh, yeah.
And you get 38, 40 miles a gallon, close to it. I think there will always be a place for economy cars like this, and it is an economy car. It comes in at about $21,000 to start.
Wow.
I don't know who can afford a $80,000 Expedition or a $100,000 Navigator. It certainly isn't me.
Not me either. Yeah, I work on them, but I can't afford them.
Yeah, I mean, I dropped $32,000 on a Benz convertible earlier this year. That's a lot of money for me.
That's a lot
of money for a lot of people.
Yeah, it is.
So, where folks, what they're doing is to pay, and maybe they're just leasing their cars, but I don't get it. So here we have a sensible car from a sensible auto company that builds cars that last forever.
No kidding.
And to me, the Corolla hatchback is a no-brainer. I fit in it. It's fun to drive. It's got all the safety features, Toyota Safety Sense that you could ever dream of. It's available right away. You don't have to, put one on a boat or have it custom made.
Mm-hmm.
That blue flame paint is just remarkable. Comes in other colors if you don't want to be, it's a pretty
pops out
bold color.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it stands out. If you don't want to be a standout, get a black one or a silver one or a gray one. They have other colors available.
Yeah.
But I just think that Toyota continues to produce hit after hit. When I drove the Corolla hatchback out in California, I also drove the 2019 Avalon. We'll talk about that on another day. But that car is sensational. It's got full tilt luxury at a mid-level price.
Avalons are great cars. They are. I love Avalon. They've always been ahead of the game. Avalon has. They've always been a couple years ahead.
But when you take Corolla and you make it sporty and fun to drive, it's a combination that's really, really hard to beat. I don't understand how you do any better than this, honestly.
Well, was it back in the 70s? We had our first oil embargo, and everyone couldn't hardly afford to buy gas, and that's when the imported smaller cars became more popular.
Absolutely.
And then
Americans.
we ran across this again.
What did we have? We had LTDs
yes.
and Bonnevilles and
lead slids.
455 cubic inch Bonneville.
That's right, we did.
460 Ford and Lincoln motors. I mean,
here
come the Japanese with their Corollas and their Datsun 510s.
Mm-hmm.
And then they really started to make a wave when they came out with the when Datsun, as Nissan was called back in the day, with their 240Z.
Oh, got one in my shop right now. I'm working on a 240Z right now. Beautiful green.
Yeah, amazing cars, man.
They are.
People say maybe this whole thing of saving fuel is not a bad idea. So what do? We come out with the Vega and the Pinto, which were two disastrous platforms.
Don't get me started.
First of all, you kill yourself. You get roasted in the Pinto because of the fuel tank issues.
Yep.
And the Vega was just garbage.
It fell apart. At 75,000 miles, you threw it away.
And then what do they replace the Vega with? An even worse car, the Chevy Chevette. So we've now we build very fine small cars. Ford does the Focus, the Fiesta.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And what do? They kill them off.
And they're going to be sold in other countries besides America and Canada. So at least they're still going to be made in South America and in Europe, apparently. So that's what I'm understanding.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, we're running out of time here, James. I want to thank you for having me on this morning.
My pleasure.
I'll be on the road. I'll be on the road in the middle of the month down in Austin, Texas, test driving the Hyundai Veloster. But I'll be back next week to talk about another car. I'll certainly let you know in advance what it is.
That sounds wonderful. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. You always come up with some really neat reviews on some of these cars. And like you said, the Corolla's been around a long time, and I'm glad to see it's hanging around. We'll talk to you again next week. Bye-bye, everybody.